It's time that we came back with a new video. I know it's been a very long time. Welcome back, supporters of the Minnesota Mamoswine. It's your coach, Josh, JK. It has been a very long time. We haven't made a video since like week 2. And it's now week 6, and I apologize. On the road for quite a bit for good old bite speed for work here, so I haven't had a chance to actually make a video in a while. And this week we have our week 6 matchup against none other than DJ, the Laughlin Lurantis Silverhammer. So it was time to get back in with a video and kind of reveal this new persona, this new attitude moving forward for me and for Draft League. We are turning over a new leaf. This season has been a big wake-up call as far as what I'm capable of, what I think I'm capable of, the rest of the league, how competitive things are, and I think it's time to really get back to our roots with way back in season 1 and 2. We've personified Gary and blue or green or whatever for a really long time, and that's been like our shtick, right? We've been the supposed bad boy villain kind of persona, knowing that we're good and trying to dominate everybody. And quite frankly, this season has been very humbling. So it's time to get back to basics, get back to our roots, and start things over, starting with this team builder. So what I would like to do is introduce the new and improved Minnesota Mamoswine. You will notice there's an avatar on the screen that is not Gary, happens to be a trainer, and more about this later. But let's get into the Pokemon team for this week, and we'll talk about big picture stuff later. First up to bat for this week 6 matchup against DJ's ridiculous team is Charizard. It's been on the bench. It's been in the starting lineup. It's done a whole bunch of different things for me this season. It's been great, and we need Iroh to be a huge player this week. I'm in a spot where DJ's team has a lot of coverage for common weaknesses. There's not a lot of opportunities to just be like, yeah, this is one thing that's gonna go and run through his team, right? So for me, this team this week is like a big mix of like the best that I can pull together, and kind of really diving into team building harder than I have in previous weeks. So Charizard's running an interesting set. So we are max special attack, 216 speed, timid nature, and then the rest of the EVs into defense. I did this for a couple of things. I was really scared of like a fast Jinx, and then just wanting to match up with some of his faster threats. There are some things that I'm just never going to be able to touch. However, this investment gives me the speed that I need without sacrificing too much in attack power, and then we add 40 in defense for a little survivability. Worst case scenario, right? It's not that big of a deal to dump 40 points into one stat, but it could be the difference between like a percentage here or a percentage there. For moves, we're running Fire Blast, Hurricane, Roost, and Defog. So Charizard not only is running a weaker damage set, just being timid nature, We are also running utility with it in defog. Now this is a pretty popular set on Smogon, or on kind of like the PU tier overall, so it's not super surprising. But we are running an 85% accurate Fire Blast and a 70% accurate Hurricane. Now, you will see in the game that is a point of contention. But what I'll say is 85% is still landing 8.5 times out of 10. And I'm going to leave it at that. Iroh's super cool this week. I needed to do a lot of heavy lifting, not only in the offensive factor, but also just being there to get rid of hazards, because his team has rocks all over the place, and I don't want to get hit by rocks. Up to bat number 2, Sparks the Bolton coming back. We're giving her a choice band, though. I am going for it. Max physical attack, 100 in special attack, and 156 in speed. Lets me outspeed everything on his team, I believe. Or almost everything except for like a scarfed something, or like maybe like a max speed Rabombi. Thunderfang, Firefang with that strong jaw ability, both awesome moves. Play Rough is there for oh gosh, it's there to hit. You know what, actually, I'm going to pull up DJ's team, because I went through this really methodically, and there was reasons for my team builder and what I did and why I did it. So let me just pull that up. So Bolton with this is faster than everything except max speed Rabombi, which I'm never going to be faster than. But it's faster than Jinx and everything else. So great there. The Play Rough is there for Poliwrath, for Absol, and just gives me a third damaging option. And then Volt Switch with 100 in special attack and a hasty nature means I'm not suffering by actually just going and clicking that Volt Switch move. It is there for a pivot in case it's in a tight spot where my other moves just aren't cutting it, or I don't have enough to get a kill, and I don't want to be locked into something to where I'm not going to win a 1v1. Sparks is here to be a pivot, a fast pivot, and to hit things after they've taken chip. I don't kill a lot of things in one hit, but I come close on a lot. So Sparks is going to play cleanup duty. And towards the end of the game, I think it'll be a really good option. I get to a point where, like, if he brings Sandaconda and it's gone, Thunderfang hits everything for at least neutral damage, except Electivire, of course. And I guess, like, Serena takes half damage to electric moves, but, you know, I'll take my chances. It hits most of his team for good damage. And, you know, he does have a couple immunities, but there might be a point where I can just click it and be satisfied. So Sparks is here for cleanup duty, and I'm really happy with this set, and I think it can do a lot of work in just kind of picking off things, especially late in the game. Up next, number 3 is Shang-Chi the Hitmontop. This thing has been one of the MVPs of my team. It is assault vested, again, technician boosted, Mac Punch, is definitely going to hit hard. Rapid Spin, because I need 2 Pokemon this week that have hazard removal. I'm very scared of rocks. Triple Axle's there for things like Golbat and Serena. And it's also the only move that I can use to hit Serena, because I'm running Fake Out. Well, I guess I have Rapid Spin, but Fake Out's there for just chip. Technician boosted Fake Out is awesome. We are max attack Adamant Nature, 248 in HP. The rest, the leftovers, in special defense. And Shang-Chi is, you know, it does its role and it does it well. There's not a lot of variation with the Hitmontop, and I've brought it as a specially defensive mon almost every time I brought it. Actually, I think every single time I brought it, it's been assault vested and, you know, fills that role. He does have a couple of things that don't appreciate fighting type priority moves, and it's got, you know, a couple other neat things that let it kind of fill this defensive spinner role really, really well, but also being an offensive threat. Not much more to say about Shang-Chi other than that it's the last Pokemon that we've seen before in League play in videos. Up number 4 is one of my favorite pickups so far this year. Granny, the Appleton for, Granny Smith apples. Rockin' Leftovers Thick Fat. This is the tank set. It is max HP, max special attack, 4 points in defense, and we're modest nature. This thing is fat. Even without, with no defensive investment hardly at all. This thing is fat. Draco Meteor and Apple Acid play really well together. Apple Acid drops special defense. Draco Meteor drops my special attack. So we can kind of play that balancing game, and then if I ever get into a spot where my special attack has been nuked, I can just click body press, and my high defense and kind of like that natural defensive stat being my attacking stat for that move lets me at least hit something after I click Draco Meteor once or twice, and the recover's just there for really good survivability. Appleton has been an awesome addition to the team as a big, robust offensive threat that can actually take hits and win 1v1s. So I'm really happy with its performance so far, and I think it'll be a really good bring against DJ, who, he's got a lot of grass resists, but really, like, Apple Acid is not there for damage this week unless he has, like, a Sandaconda or a Poliwrath in against me. Which in that case, like, hey, we're doing something right. But Draco Meteor hits everything on his team, and nothing wants to take it. There are things like Assault Vested Golbat, or Eevee-like Golbat, or Assault Vested Serena would eat a Draco Meteor pretty well. But I think Appleton still has a lot of viability in this matchup. Number 5, one of the new pickups that I haven't gotten to use yet, but it has been on the roster at least for a week, is Misty the Galarian Rapidash. This is an offensive Calm Mind set. So we're rocking Life Orb Pastel Veil, so I can't get Toxic, which is great. Max special attack, almost max speed. That 244 speed, I believe, lets me outspeed the Jinx tier, potentially. Let me see here. It is... Oh, gosh. What is my speed? 307. So I outspeed Golbat by 1 point. I lose to max speed Electivire and max speed Jinx, and then obviously Ribombee. But I'm faster than Golbat, which means I can fire off Psychics that it's not going to like. Mystical Fire is there as a good coverage move. He's got a couple of fire weaknesses, which is awesome. Calm Mind, obviously, for that setup potential, and then Morning Sun for some built-in heal that I can click if I'm in a favorable matchup where I know he's going to switch. And it helps offset the Life Orb damage a little bit. So I'm really excited to use Rapidash G. I haven't gotten to use it yet. In testing, it did pretty well. Just being able to set up on some things and just fire off like big psychics and just nuke stuff for like 50 to 60%. So it's got great speed, good attack, and then if I get a situation where I can, I can actually set up a little bit, we could get to a point where I'm just kind of tearing through stuff. So definitely not a for sure win condition if I set up, but it's got a good impact potential. And then last but not least, our fresh pickup for this week is Boomy the Rhydon. I got to a point in this season, and honestly this is probably like weeks late, where I took a really hard look at my team and what I had for what I would call like a defensive wall, right? So something that can take hits on the physical side and still be an offensive threat if I need it to, but actually be able to take a couple of hits and do something more than just like I'm setting up rocks and clicking Aqua Jet. So, as you know, Caracosta was our defensive wall before. We did successfully do a shell smash run 1 week. Got paralyzed, so it didn't matter because I got greedy and I ran a Lychee Berry, which increases attack power if our health is down below 0.25%. In thinking that, I could click Shell Smash on turn 1 or whenever I get it in, take a hit, get knocked down to sturdy, go +3 attack, +2 special attack, +2 speed, and then just kind of sweep my way to victory. Could have maybe happened a little bit differently. That game was crazy. But we did get paralyzed from a Dunsparce headbutt, or body slam. So we didn't get to really just like roll through. I think like Caracosta got like 2 kills or something. Shell Smash worked, but like that was one time that I could have an offensive threat baked in with this like defensive mon. So I looked at my team really, really hard before this game against DJ, and I thought, okay, as much as I love Caracosta and as much as I tried to make it work, and it did work in some certain circumstances, and I was able to do a couple of things with it, it just wasn't producing in the way that I needed it to. So we dropped our first overall pick before week 6, picked up Rhydon, something that can run Eviolite, which is really, really good, especially in this tier. Lightning Rod's a fantastic ability. I'm immune to electric type attacks anyway, but Lightning Rod is like, it's there. It might be kind of fun to do a special Rhydon at some point, but as you'll see with the max HP, max defense, 4 special defense, impish nature, we're not playing around and we're fully defensive. But Rhydon's got insane stats. Like, without any investment, my max attack with Rhydon is 130. That's my base my base physical attack. That is the highest on my team. Wild. And it's got 105 HP. 105 base HP. Stupid good. I wish I would have picked this thing up weeks in advance. As for the moveset for this week, Stone Edge, Rock-type moves hit DJ's team really, really hard. Stone Edge is good against his team. He's got like 5 weaknesses, I think I counted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weaknesses and only 2 resists. So like Stone Edge is hitting half of his team extremely hard. Ice Punch is there for Serena mainly. Also kind of Sandaconda. And Dragon Tail is just it's a good phasing move because DJ has run setup stuff pretty consistently in the past, or at least had the idea of this could be a setup mon. Things like bulk up Poliwrath, or I'm thinking coil Sandaconda or something like that. So Dragon Tail being there to be able to help phase stuff out, especially after I get Stealth Rocks up, just repetitive chip damage, could be really, really good. So we're rocking this set. I'm really happy with this Rhydon. I think it's going to do great for at least the 2 guaranteed games that I have it for, and then we'll see. We'll talk more about week 7 when the video is done. But we've been going for 20 minutes already. Let's get into the game, and we can show kind of what we're working with. So we have DJ's team. You can see here we're fully embracing Ethan. Garrett, special shout out for you. Gary's yours, man. We're rocking Charizard, Bolton, Rhydon, Rabbit G, Hitmontop, and Granny the Appleton. DJ brought Electivire, which is busted in this tier. Golbat, which is super fat. Avalugg with its defensive monster. Not really sure what Heatmore's doing here. especially at team preview. I didn't think he would bring it. I mean, it's like a decent mon, but I wasn't super, prepared to face a Heatmore, but also like not terrified of it. The Jinx, on the other hand, I am shaking in my boots for. And then Serena obviously is just really good against my team. So let's get into it, right? Music off so I don't destroy your eardrums. And let's just get into it. So from the lead, I'm thinking, okay, what can I do that gives me the best possible chance to win? For him, I had no idea what his lead was going to be. I could see like a Volt Switch Electivire being something that he could lead with. Just throwing the Heatmore out there, being super offensive right away, or maybe Golbat's going to come out and U-turn after it Toxics my lead or something. Avalugg isn't really a lead, at least I don't think. And I think Jinx is going to be probably like his finishing setup, fast Specs or Scarf Mon that's going to come in at the end of the game. And then Serena could also be a lead, kind of predicting that I would go for like a Boltund or a Rhydon or something to lead the game. So I just think, okay, let's get Boomy out, let's get Rocks up, let's do our thing and go from there. Turns out he goes into Serena, and I immediately switch and take a massive drop kick. I was scared of dying, and I really thought that Hitmontop was like the best option to come in and maybe take like a triple axle, because that's really what I thought he was going to go for. The drop kick was good. Also, really, I'm just seeing this here. That was a crit. So actually, that I would have taken that a lot better than I thought. We take 58.4%, which sucks. But that was a crit. I didn't realize that when we were playing the game. I really just, I pulled the trigger on the top switch because, looking at his team, looking at what Hitmontop was there for, looking at the rest of my team, I really didn't want to take a triple axle on Granny, which is kind of like the other switch that kind of makes sense here. Everything else, Charizard maybe is a good switch, but I mean, I don't want it taking big damage right off of turn one. So Hitmontop is what I switched out into. We get crit, which is unfortunate, and we're down to 42%. I obviously can't take another one, so I want to preserve what I have with the Hitmontop. So I go into Appleton now. So Granny comes in, and I'm not sure what his item is at this point. Based off of the damage and me not paying attention, I thought, oh wow, that is like a banded Serena or something like that. Because that was like a lot of damage on a bulky Hitmontop. So I figured, okay, well, if he's gonna trap kick, Granny's like amazing here. I can switch it in, start firing off Apple Acids, and then maybe a Draco or something. He is, goes for the trap kick, and we take it really well. And now it's kind of like, okay, what is the plan for him to respond? Turns out he's not banded. Again, should have looked back, and that was a crit on the Hitmontop. But it's interesting because I don't really know what he has for an item right now. So he knocks off my leftovers, which sucks, but it's not the end of the world. Throw an Apple Acid out there, does 18%, we get the drop, and it's got leftovers. Okay, so we know it's a bulkier Serena. He switches out into Golbat, and at this point, I think I'm just clicking Apple Acid again, because I'm like, well, he knocked me off, and he had Drop Kick. He's probably got Rapid Spin, and then like a third move, which is probably Triple Axle. But he switches. We went for Recover, which is, I think, a good play. I think Recover just because I thought, like, okay, he's used knockoff and drop kick. Maybe he'll go for, one of those moves again. Maybe he doesn't have anything better to hit me with. But again, like, okay, triple axles, in my background. I figured we could live another knockoff or a drop kick. Obviously, we're going to live. So I went for the ballsy recover. And he switches. So we get lucky there, and it was a good play for us. I expect a toxic coming out here. Because in the grand scheme of things, Golbat really can't touch Appleton. It can Brave Bird me, sure. It can Super Fang me, sure. But I'm going to start chipping away with Apple Acid, lowering its defenses, and then eventually I'm just going to drop a Draco Meteor and it's going to die. And I can recover and kind of play that game as we go. And he either Brave Birds me and takes recoil, or he tries to Toxic me, which is the better out. And I'm like, okay, I have the perfect switch for this. Rapidash can't get Toxicked. We get a free switch in. Maybe we fire off a Psychic. So that's my line of play here. He does go for the Toxic, and I figure, you know what? At worst, he Brave Birds me. I go +1. Then Psychic is gonna kill. So we go for it. He Brave Birds, which does a lot of damage. But, it's a Golbat. It's good. It's a good bond. But I'm still +1. I go for the Psychic, and he lives on 1%. 1%. After checking, the roll was like 72 to 88%, I think, or 74 to 88%. So it was actually not a bad roll for me. It was just like we didn't get a max roll, and he had just enough health to live it. So that's just kind of the way it goes. It was a good roll for me. I can't complain about that one. I take some Life Orb damage, and he goes for Haze. So he was ready for the setup of some kind on my team, which is a great play by him. But now I'm kind of in the spot where it's like, okay, he's got Haze, Toxic, Brave Bird, and something, right? So he's used three attacks here. I know that I can out heal him. I'm faster than him, so I can Morning Sun, and he'll die to Brave Bird recovery or recoil if it happens. Can't Toxic me, can't Haze me, when I'm at neutral damage. So it's a pretty free Morning Sun. So I just go for that, and he actually roosts. So he's got some healing tech as well, and then switches out, which is a good play by him. Because I just fired off a Psychic. It was a pretty good chance that I was going to kill it, even, not at +1. So I just fired it off. We get 30 damage on Jinx, which is great. And now I thought about this turn for quite a while. I wasn't sure what I really wanted to do. All I know is Jinx is faster than me and can kill me with an Ice Beam, with a Shadow Ball. Basically anything it wants to, I'm going to die. Especially at 71%. So I send out Hitmontop. We live the hit. And I really thought that we might get lucky going for Fake Out here. And he switches into Table Jobs, which is a good switch by him. I thought about which move to click for a really long time, because like the Hitmontop set, Fake Out's just a good move across the board, right? I lose nothing by going for that move. I get a flinch on the other team, and then I can follow it up with a Mach Punch. If he switches in Serena, great switch. I'm done for anyway. If I Rapid Spin predicting that switch, I get +1, and then I can fire off a Triple Axle. But like the best play overall, especially if he stays in as Jinx, is to just fake out. And then we can Mach Punch afterwards. But he switches into Avalugg because it's this defensive monster. And it's running Rocky Helmet, so I go down. However, I get a free switch into Iroh here, and we can start clicking Fire Blast. Because Avalugg does not want to take this. Electivire doesn't want to take a Fire Blast. Jinx definitely doesn't want to take it. And Serena definitely doesn't want to take it. And Golbat, at this point in the game, is at 51% health. So it doesn't want to take one either. However, he's got a Heat more. And I did think about that. And he switches in Heat more, which gets the Flash Fire boost. I honestly, in that point, was not really like... I played the safe route. Right? Because, like, while Flash Fire activates and I don't actually do any damage, we don't really lose anything going for Fire Blast. If he stays in, great. If he switches to any of the other mons, great. So Fire Blast goes off, you know, it's not the end of the world. And I'm looking at the Heatmore sets, and I'm thinking, okay, well, what can it really do to Charizard? I'm faster, and I should be able to two-hit kill this thing at the very least. So now I just click Hurricane, you know, and we go for it. And that's 50%, so this is great. That was a lot of really good damage. It is Assault Vested, which, you know, great planning. It kind of is here to wall the Charizard, I assume. Yeah, you know, he uses knockoff and gets rid of my boots, which does suck. However, looking at his team this deep in, like, it doesn't look like he brought hazards. So actually losing my boots doesn't really do anything negative for me. And I'm pretty happy with just like, oh yeah, I mean, you know, we took a little bit of damage, but I can just, you know, fire off another Hurricane and we should be able to kill this thing. He switches. Hurricane connects onto Electivire and knocks him down to 70%. And now this is where, excuse me, this is where, you know, one of those situations where Charizard's not faster than Electivire and I die to everything. So, looking at my team, what is the best switch in for Electivire? And obviously, you know, if he's an offensive, you know, physically offensive Electivire, Rhydon is the natural choice. I thought about Granny for like a half second because it's max HP. And it actually takes an Ice Punch pretty well. However, I just kind of think, you know, I need to play safe here. You need to do like the play that gets me in trouble the least, and that's predicting the Volt switch, because, you know, DJ's going to think that I'm going to switch, right? There's no way I keep a Charizard in. So he's probably going to go for a Volt switch. If not, he's going for like a Thunderbolt or a Thunder Punch, when, you know, any of those moves, because it's going to obliterate Charizard. So go into your ground type. Go into the thing that has Lightning Rod. Well, we catch the Volt switch, and now we get it Rocks Up, which is great. And I'm a little bummed that the attack animations aren't working, just because, like, you can't see that rocks are up. But just remember that Stealth Rocks are up on his side of the field, which is great. You know, that's important. Free Rocks Up, and now I'm facing a Serena, which I know has Drop Kick, Knockoff, and probably has Rapid Spin, and my guess is Triple Axle. So I don't really want to take any moves, so I switch out into Appleton. He goes for Trap Kick, no problem. And now we're gonna play this game of like, okay, does he have Triple Axle? He hasn't used it yet, which is crazy. He had many opportunities to where he could have clicked triple axle, especially facing down to Appleton. So I'm like, well, maybe he doesn't have it and he's running some other crazy set. So I'm gonna take a triple axle, and unfortunately, DJ misses the second triple axle hit. So we get out taking, 13 damage, which is great. We go for an apple acid, get the defense drop. He gets some healing back, and he goes for it again. And twice in a row, he misses the second triple axle hit. Now, that is extremely lucky for me. However, triple axle has 3 chances to miss. You roll that dice 3 times. Chances are you're going to miss along the way. So bad luck there for DJ, but maybe it's a little bit of karma for the crit earlier in the game. I don't know. It's probably not that big of a swing, crit versus missing twice, but he's chipping away. I'm chipping away. Things are happening. We drop a Draco Meteor, going for the kill, going for big damage. Because I expect to be very close to dead here, now knowing that he's got triple axle and that I'm probably going to die if he hits 2 or 3. So we just dropped the Draco Meteor, and now he's down to 16%, and I say, okay, let's read the triple axle. Turns out he's got Synthesis as his last move. So I am feeling a couple of things. Number 1, this thing is bulky. Number 2, doesn't have rapid spin. So Avalugg probably is his rapid spinner, because I don't think Golbat has any moves left, which it doesn't know. So we haven't seen any moves from Avalugg yet, but rocks are on his side of the field for good, which is great news for us. Unless Avalugg, spins him away. However, Charizard's in, and now we have a golden opportunity to click Fire Blast or Hurricane again, both of which are doing great damage to this arena. And I decide to go for a Hurricane. And we get it. We finally get a kill. Charizard brought his glasses this week. Did not miss a Hurricane, which is great. 3 for 3 there. I know DJ was salty about the accuracy, but that's Pokemon, dude. Sorry, that's the only time I'll make that joke. DJ, I respect you. I know this game was kind of all over the place, but, back to the video. But we hit the Hurricane, which is great. Heatmore goes down, and now Charizard can click Fire Blast with Unabandoned, and it's going to do good damage across the board. Golbat takes some rocks damage. We fire off the Fire Blast. The crit did not matter. I don't think it did anyways. I really hope it didn't matter. I haven't calced that, but how much damage did that do? Watch this through. Golbat comes out, it's at 26%. Fire Blast. Okay. I don't think the crit mattered. We might have to calc it just to be sure, but I don't think it mattered. Golbat goes down. We're getting kills. Electivire comes out. Now I can't touch this, so we switch back into Rhydon. Catch the Thunderbolt. Great. And at this point, I think, well, he's got to be like Choice Scarf Electivire, right? He's got to be, right? He's used Thunderbolt and Volt Switch. So he's not going to be Choice Banded because, it's a mixed attacker. So I don't think he's Choice Banded. I think he's Choice Scarfed at this point. I also think that the Jinx is Scarfed or Sashed or Specked in some way. But we're in a good spot to be able to just fire something off against the Electivire. And I could have went for Stone Edge. Because it was going to do a lot of damage. Did tons of damage to the Avalugg and the Jinx. And the Serena takes a Stone Edge pretty well. I figured he would switch. I just didn't know into what. You know, if I was ballsy, I could have clicked Ice Punch, but that didn't happen. But I'm thinking, I got Rocks up, and he's got 2 Ice types left, and Electivire taking more chip is great for me, because it makes Boltun's job at the end very much easier. So I said, all right, you know, he's going to switch in. I'm going to Dragon Tail and phase it right out, which is great, because we get a little bit more chip on Steve Jobs. And he switches out into Serena again, and I click Stone Edge because I'm like, all right, let's do it. Let's go. Boom. Stone Edge, great. We get the kill on Serena. Now he sends out Jinx, taking that chip damage. The only thing is Jinx is so fast. And I'm like panicking because in the back of my head, I'm like, okay, Rapidash dies, Appleton dies, Boomy dies, Boltun's going to be faster if it's not Scarfed. Charizard dies. So really, like, I have to maneuver this very carefully. I switched out into Rapidash because at this point in the game, it was the thing that I felt the best in sacking off. I knew something was going to die here, and I want to keep Rhydon around to wall out the Electivire later. And the Avalugg also doesn't appreciate the Rhydon. That's a iffier 1v1 if it happens. But I valued the Rhydon more than the Rapidash at this point in the game, so I sacked it off. Which lets me get Charizard in, because I'm expecting him to be Scarfed at this point in the game, and a Scarfed Ice Beam will not kill me. It'll be close, but I don't think it kills me. Or if it does, it's like a roll. So I fired off a Fire Blast, trying to kill it. I missed. But we, on the second one, get it to the Avalugg. And I learned a couple of things here. Number one, Jinx is for sure choiced in some way. Because he needed to switch out because he knew he couldn't kill the Charizard with Ice Beam. And Fire Blast is going to kill regardless. I think actually Fire Blast kills everything on his team now regardless. However, Electivire is going to be faster, which is a problem, but I have switches. You know, it's 4-2 now. Brings out Electivire. I switch into Rhydon again. He uses Psychic. We take a little bit of damage here. With 4 points in special defense is all. We eat that so well. We do get the special defense drop, which is unfortunate because he's a special Electivire, which, yeah, why not? But like, okay, I can take this hit now. Let me go for a Stone Edge. We clear out the Electivire. Jinx comes in one more time. Will kill me with Ice Beam. Rhydon going 2-1 this week. In its first game, which is great. Like, immediately, so much better than Caracosta. So much better. And then at this point, I'm like, okay, it's just use Ice Beam. We're in that scenario that we were beforehand, to where Ice Beam is a roll to kill, or it's guaranteed to not kill. I don't remember the specifics for sure. Turns out he's Specs. So not Scarfed. So I would have died for sure had I gone for like a Roost or something different, or Mist, or whatever. However, means that Boltund is 100% faster, because evidently Charizard is too. So even though that Fire Blast connected, I still would have won the game because Boltund is faster and has Fire Fang. So, but in playing for playoff differential, this was huge. Hitting that last Fire Blast and getting the kill and securing this a 3-0 win against DJ. So just a roller coaster of a game, a super fun game. Jinx goes down on turn 32, and we get a 3-0 victory against DJ, who at that point was undefeated and top of the rankings. So it feels really, really, really good to get into a scenario where, you know, we can win this game. And it's definitely a big confidence booster moving into week 7. So, speaking of week 7, playoffs are still alive. As of right now, we are 3-3 at a +2 differential for our tiebreak score. Yeah, so okay, Noah has updated this. At least with mine and DJ's games. Nope, with my game in there at least. So, oh yeah, I guess with DJ's in there too. So DJ obviously is just destroying people. He's at +17 and now 5-1. I am sitting in 4th place in the division right now. However, and this is a little bit of spoilers. I wonder if I can. Well, I'm not gonna pull it up because it's kind of. Well, actually, maybe I can. If we go showdown, here we go. Yeah, nice. So new improved website. You know, great job, Noah. For APDL. Right now, DJ cannot lose the top spot. Just can't. Even if he loses in week 6 or in week 7, excuse me, his worst tiebreak score would be 5-2 overall at +11. There's no way that Wilfie can get that high of a differential, even if he 6-0s in week 6 or in week 7 and goes 5-2 as well. So DJ locked in as number 1 in the division, but we get a win over him, which is great. Great confidence booster moving into last week here. In 2nd place, we have the depressed Dunspars and Wilfie. So Wilfie plays the North Dakota Neuverns, Edall, in the last week of the season here. So I'm sorry for like putting, you know, assumptions out there, but let's just say for the sake of the argument for playoffs that the Dunspars win and go to 5-2 overall, and let's say DJ wins and goes to 6-1 overall. Great, awesome, that's fine. They both are going to be in the top no matter what. DJP is also, I think, locked in at this point because the sheet is not updated all the way because the Jamestown Jolteon lost. So they're 3-3 at +4 because it was the 1-0 loss to Sean and Edmonton this week. So he's at +4 and 3-3, just ahead of me, 2 points ahead of me in 4th place. I'm technically in 5th. However, I play Peyton in week 7. Harry plays DJ in the last week, so let's just assume that DJ wins. Harry loses and stays in 3rd place for sure at 4-3. Let's just say Wilfie goes to 5-2, DJ's at 6-1. That's your top 3. Whoever wins out of me and Peyton will be the 4th seed and the last playoff spot going into the end of the regular season. It is a win or go home game. If we do well enough, we even might sneak ahead of Harry because he's at 0 for a differential right now. Depending on how the game with Harry or with DJ goes, the winner of me and Peyton actually I think is guaranteed 3rd place. It's just okay. DJP goes to 4-3. Best he can be is +1, or worst he can be best he can be is -1 at 4-3 if he loses to DJ, which timelines are weird because they already played this game and I know what happens, but let's just say he loses. Best case scenario for him is a -1 tiebreaker score. Okay, so you'd be 4-3 at -1. The winner of our game will be 4-3 with either above +2 or +4. So we'll be in third place if we win. It's a battle for third between me and Peyton in the last game of the season. So, lot of pressure. Lot of pressure coming up with this last game. However, I feel like the prep for DJ and how we scouted, how we put together our team, the mindset and how we played the game even, was much better than it has been in the last, 3-4 weeks even. So I'm confident that we will give this a go and give this playoff push a run for its money. Hopefully we can get there. It would really, really suck to not make playoffs. We want to defend our Season 2 title. Last time we did singles. So this Week 7 game against Peyton means a lot, and it's a big one. We have 5 days or so. I think we're going to play probably Saturday or Sunday. I haven't actually talked to Peyton about when. But we've got 5 or so days to make roster switches if we need to, trade deadline, and free agency closes on Sunday after the games are done. So we definitely want to make sure we make any switches this week if we need to. I've already got a trade offer for Stoutland out there. Somebody approached me. I'm still mulling that over. I think Stoutland's an awesome Pokemon, and I don't know if I'm going to give it up. But there are potentials to make moves here in the last week and really take a look at what playoffs are going to look like, just winning this last week and to make playoffs. And rather than going into this last game of oh my God, if I lose this game, we can't defend our title, we don't make playoffs, it's the end of the world. I'm going to go into this as fresh as I can be with the mindset of, let's just go 1-0. And if we do that, we'll make playoffs. So we're starting over. We're starting fresh. That's the mindset that we're kind of taking over. And the personification of Gary needed to end a long time ago, I think. It was fun when we did it for Season 2. It was fun to kind of have that swagger and be the top dog. But it's time to start a new adventure with Ethan and kind of that mindset of starting fresh, a new adventure, a new mindset going into these games. I think Garrett and I don't have to fight for a Sprite or who owns the Sprite, who actually owns the Sprite. We'll take Ethan to the bank and hopefully to playoffs. But got to get our first gym badge first.